let's get it going.
Perfect, perfect. I am so excited to do this. Welcome to Sherni Vision Podcast. I
Thank
want to
you.
go ahead and what's your morning routine like? Let's start off with that.
Morning routine, I was obviously taking care of my family at home. My parents, elderly parents, so, good son, takes care of the parents, taking care of the dog, the family, and just, getting ready for work.
For how long? And where this career started? I'm going to go all the
Way
way
back.
back.
So actually, I was born in Chandigarh, but I came into U.S. into New York in '72. So I've been here for a very, very long time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, raised in New York all my life, in Queens, and out here on Long Island. So I pretty much stayed here all my life, and that's where I am. That's why I got the Long Island accent. breaking a stereotype right there. No Indian accent, no thick accent, nothing like that. But first of all, again, good morning, and thank you for having me on. I'm very happy to be here. Watching TV and films and everything like that, you see the stereotyping that always happens, and it doesn't go away. I decided to do background TV work, get into film career, just so people can see who we are. We're not always going to be the taxi driver, bodega owner with the accent. We can be normal people, and that was always my goal, is to have authentic representation of a South Asian or Sikh character on print or on media or wherever you see it. So luckily enough, I've been on billboards. Most recently, I started doing this stuff, and I was director picked for a lot of TV shows. And when you get director picked, that's a huge accomplishment, because right now you're next to the main characters on the scene, whether it's Quantico, New Amsterdam. I did a scene with another show, Night Agent, as well. So it's funny that like they pick you out of a picture lineup and say, okay, you're going to be here, whatever. And it's funny when you get a lot of like friends or family start texting you, was that you, a Night Agent I just saw? I say, yeah, that was me. Not a big deal, but it's something. But it still wasn't enough, and that's why I decided to go off and write my own stories. I did a first short film called Manpreet a couple years ago, and it was based on a mother-daughter conflict about marriage and how my character as Mamaji comes in and helps resolve the issue that they have. It went on to 10 festivals, won an award, and that launched into my second short film, which we just finished shooting. It's called Perfectly Seasoned, where my niece is now helping my character navigate the dating scene as a mature single Sikh male in his 50s. And yeah, and we shot it mockumentary style, so we're hoping for a little humor in there. But again, we want to do something different. We don't always want to have the same short story over and over again. So I said, let's shoot a mockumentary style, something that hasn't really been done. And, we'll see what happens. So we're going to hit the film festival circuit soon, and cross our fingers. But in between, which is the big news, which you know about, at a film festival in Boston, I met a director, Rahat Kazmi, and he loved my film Manpreet so much that he asked me to come on board as a writer for his next film. Fast forward, last December, I was in Vietnam for 2 weeks shooting a film on a production set of a Bollywood film. Shantanu Maheshwari, Raj Babbar, Gulshan Grover, Farida Jalal, Avneet Kaur, the cast. And it was such an amazing experience to not only to be on a set of a Bollywood film, had a couple cameos in it, but also to see dialogue that you wrote come to life. And that film, today they announced the release date for the film is September 12th, and that film is Love in Vietnam.
Oh,
yes.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like, I just, you just have to pinch yourself and say, how did all this happen? But that's why you do it. And that's, you try to do these things and you make the connections, you always represent yourself, who you are, and connections are going to get made. And I'm excited to announce that I will be in Mumbai also for the red carpet film release.
Platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And they released the first music video last week or a week and a half ago, and it has like 10 million views in the first week. And it's got acclaimed, a great song. I'm not going to tell you everyone the name of the song, so you have to go out there and look for it on YouTube. but the movie's Love in Vietnam, and you'll find the music video very easily.
And
I'm
then
sorry, you're breaking up. Rod Cosby? So there was a film festival in Boston, a South Asian film festival. His film was screening there, his feature film was screening there, and my film was screening there, Manpreet was screening there. And, Farida Jalal was there also. So it was funny just, running into a hotel at breakfast time and sitting there with her son and just having breakfast, talking to her. Such a humble lady, unbelievable. But that's where we just met, and, we just hung out a little bit. He saw my film, and he was just, like in awe, because I guess the thing is, he wanted someone, because the film is Hindi, Punjabi, and English. So he really needs someone to come in to do the English dialogue. And that's where he said, I want to tap you to come in and do that. But, I went in and wrote the first draft of the film, and then they went on from different versions of that to where it's going to be coming out in next month. But just, again, like I said, to be on set, to be part of production, to be there, have dinner with the actors, and, just hang out with them. It's just an unbelievable experience. Yeah. It's I still can't believe it. It's like, here I am going to Mumbai. You've never been to India. I haven't been in India in 15 years, and now I go to Mumbai for a Bollywood film release. Yeah, I mean, like I said, is you never know where a journey takes you, or a connection takes you. Obviously, I would love to keep doing more stuff like that, and it's still always going to be representation, and especially in the U.S. There is so little representation of our characters. And I want to bring our characters into the limelight in a positive way, but also a normal way. It doesn't have to be the comedic, shaking your head like this all the time. It could be in a fun way. Like I said, here I am in my short film navigating a dating scene, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So you make it funny. We're normal characters. We're normal people. So that's how we should be.
Exactly.
We want to be able to get picked for these projects, whether it's director picks or music videos or whatever, and let people turn heads and look at you, and they're like, wow, who is this guy? That's what you want.
Yeah.
You don't want them to say, oh, there's another guy in a turban, whatever, and that's it. It's funny. I was picked out to have a scene, a very short clip in Chappelle Roan's new music video called Train. And again, the director picked me, and the casting agent's like, she wants to keep you on set because she likes you. And I'm like, oh, wow. That's the feeling you get when directors say they want this character, they want this person. Then you're getting the representation you want. And that's what it's all about. Represent, inspire, and open doors for other people, for other Sikhs, other South Asians, to go out there and speak in your normal accent. Just be your normal character. Yeah, it does. And it's funny because years ago when I was job hunting, I would talk to recruiters on the phone, and, oh, you sound great. Come in, we're going to meet you. And then, sure enough, when you meet them, they're like, oh, you're Harbinder? I'm like, yeah, that's me, and it throws people off. And, and that's where you see, that's why you have to change people's perspectives of who we are. Yeah, that's always been there. I mean, out on Long Island, there wasn't many South Asians. There were almost no Sikhs, when I came out here in the 70s. So it was tough. I mean, there was racism, there was hatred, and even in the school, especially, getting bullied a lot. But it's just perseverance. You have to persevere through these things, and that's what I did. I mean, I took a lot of abuse. A lot of people probably took a lot of abuse. And I didn't really bring it up too much to my family because I didn't want them to get involved in it and feel hurt about what's going on. It happened. It continued through college, and then you had the whole 9/11. So it's always going to be there, and you hope that more people understand. And it's funny because I've actually gotten stopped on the streets of the city, or even here on Long Island, and people walk up to you and say, "Excuse me, are you Sikh?" And I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, so a lot of people do know, and it's fascinating when you hear people walk up to you and they want to ask you questions. So that makes it all much better, and that's why when you go out, as a South Asian or a Sikh, you have to look the part. You have to wear the turban. You have to have the beard ready. You have to look good. And, any other times you go out in baseball caps or, patkas or whatever. But if you're trying to change people's perspectives, you have to represent who you are. And that's why I'm trying to do this.
Going
Exactly.
in.
Yeah, I mean, it was always hard because, when you do background work, you're just a guy in the background. They just pay you to come in for the 10 hours, whatever, and you don't get anything. And that's why, I wanted to create the films myself because, it wasn't what I was doing or what I wanted to do. And, like I said, it took a while, but again, representing who you are, I've been casted for other films, short films, feature films, I was in, not only in Chappelle Roan's video, but I was in a music video for Cheetos with a rapper, and if you look it up, it's called Cheetos. It's Mims the rapper, Cheetos music video. And you'll see my character, displayed there. And it's a totally opposite of what you would expect. But again, it was amazing because I talked to the casting agent and he said, out of 500 people, the director picked you.
Wow.
And just to hear that is like, wow.
Yes.
So the director has that vision of what that person what she wants. And to be picked out of 500 is an amazing, accomplishment. So here's the thing. Because of my salt and pepper look and everything like that, I've been cast in a lot of scenes where they need older people, 50 plus over, which for me is great, because there aren't that many Sikhs out there with a salt and pepper beard. So I'm getting print ads for like TIAA, Cigna Health, and things like that. So I'm not in a competition. I have friends of Sikhs that are actors and models. They're 20 years younger than me. I'm not in competition with them. We're all going to do the same thing, whether it's a different demographic. I don't care. The best part is, like I worked New York Fashion Week twice. When you come out behind that curtain, and people, because everyone there is like 25, 20, 6 years old, whatever. When you turn from that curtain and people see you, jaws drop, and you get such a huge applause because no one expects it. Not only because you're a mature Sikh with a turban, but also because you're dressing the part that makes the younger people look like kids. Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a great feeling to hear that applause and see those smiles on those people's faces because they know, what it takes to get here, and they know you're breaking barriers. Yeah. And Vish, I know he's a good friend of mine. I've done some stuff with him, and I always joke with him. I say, yeah, when you get 20 years older, you're gonna look like me, But like I said, we've done some projects together, and he's great. I mean, he's done some great campaigns for Target and things like that. I always tell him, I said, well, I was outside billboards at Madison Square Garden, so beat that, So it's a fun little thing that we have going on back and forth. But at the end of the day, he does what he's doing is right. I'm doing what I'm doing is right, and we all should be doing what we're doing is right. It's not about just making some money and getting Instagram likes. It's about representation, and that's what it should be. No. I think I had one backlash because I did an Instagram thing with a beer company, but it was like a very mild thing, I'm like, listen, other people, you have singers out there singing about guns and beers and drinks and things like that. I mean, if I do a print ad, with a beer commercial, it can't be all that bad. It's all about, again, we're normal people, yeah, I'm going to drink a beer. I'm going to drink a beer, Yeah.
Going into that.
And I've been cast for other things, where, it doesn't fit my character, and I'll say no. I mean, if it's something that morally I don't feel is right, you can say no. And that goes back to the thing is a lot of these casting agents don't know who you are. What is a Sikh versus a Muslim versus a Hindu? They just want a South Asian guy, like a little brown color. And that's, again, going back and teaching some of these people who we really are. Exactly. With who?
Reading up on.
Oh, I mean, I've done a bunch of films, so it's not sure which one that is, but the thing is, if you work with other South Asian actors, you learn from them, and because these are seasoned professionals. Like when I was in Love in Vietnam, I was in a couple of scenes, and there's this one character, Saki. He actually plays my character in Love in Vietnam. So when I wrote the script, I wrote my character in as Harbinder. And the director went with a younger cast. So this character, he's actually, not Punjabi, but he dons the turban. He actually looks pure Punjabi. And, you learn from these characters. You learn how to do things on the screen, on the camera. And so any chance you get with someone like that is a learning experience, because you learn these tips along the way. How to get on the screen. You just angle yourself in certain ways and things like that. Um, it's a learning experience every time you go out there. And no, and any actor will tell you this: no actor is 100%. They're always learning. If you're not learning, then it's time to retire. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
you have
It's
to
funny
keep that
because
in mind. Mhm.
people ask me about the turban, and I said I'm still learning. I still watch YouTube videos of other younger people, how they tie their turbans, because I always like to learn. Right?
Mm.
There's always different styles and things like that. I'm like, this isn't right over here. I said, let me go watch a video, see how someone else does it, and that's what you have to do. I admit it. I watch videos.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I keep telling Vish, I said, you got to teach me how to tie your turban, and he's like, oh, one of these days we'll get together and do it. And I'm like, dude, I need to get like a portfolio shoot of different style turbans. So we need to meet up soon. Yeah,
I
yeah,
love that you
yeah,
also.
yeah, yeah. Even when we shot Perfectly Seasoned, we shot over 2 days, like 2 months ago. The younger actors that I have, and actually, one of them is Punjabi. She's really, really good. And I go back and watch the edit, and I'm like, man, I should have been like this, and like now you think back and you're like, man, I wish I can reshoot that scene, because now I want to be like her. Um, so it's a great feeling when you see other people, step up, and now when I do the third film, the bar is going to be this high to step up and really act it out. My inner circle is very, very, very short, very small. My wife, maybe my kids, my dog, but he doesn't understand what I'm talking to him about. No, that's really it. I mean, I really don't. You don't want to announce what you're going to be doing ahead of down the road. You want people to be in suspense. When you announce your intentions, then people, I don't want to say this, but people get their own ideas of how to steal those intentions. They want to take that thunder away ahead of time. Um, so I try to keep things, in my mind, just churning, churning, churning. And then finally I'll say, you know what? Time to work on another script or whatever and just do it. I have something else coming up hopefully soon. It's a collaboration of American Indian rapper that hopefully in the next week or two we should have something going on. But again, it's just something different. You've done the acting, you've done the modeling, you've done filmmaking, and now it's like, okay, have an idea about some rap song, a collaboration. So why not?
To
It
keep
is.
opening those doors.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just everyone should be broad versed in everything. I mean, and when you do acting, modeling, print, music, whatever, something will stick.
Mm. Hmm.
The thing that sticks is what you end up doing the rest of your life. I'm not saying everything's a hobby, but it's something that you have to try different things. You know, as a 56-year-old Sikh male, I don't want to just sit home and watch TV.
Yeah.
I want to do things. I want to try different things. Whether it's filmmaking or storytelling or acting or modeling or doing songwriting or whatever. You have to do something. You need a hobby. Yeah. So I mean, the modeling thing was just something I just did for fun. You go for some local photography shoots, and that's what you use to submit to casting projects. And like I said, it's like the modeling. I think again, when you hit that demographic where there's no other Sikh mature 56-year-old man out there, um, you can hit that floor running, and all it takes is one project or two projects for people to notice you. And right now, I still haven't hit that project where I'm getting noticed, but I'm hoping to soon, especially with Love in Vietnam. I mean, just to get a co-writer credit in IMDb for a Bollywood film is huge, you know. But I would love to do more modeling. I think
Mm.
modeling is where you get noticed quicker, whether
Mm.
it's a print ad or a TV commercial or things like that. You'll get noticed quicker, and then people will start paying attention. The
Mhm.
films are great if somebody watches the film.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's fun. It's a fun experience. I've sent you some photos and things like that. It sticks out when you see someone like that on a print screen, on a print ad. You just like, wow, yes. It's just you cross your fingers and you like, all right, you just kind of think about what the scene is. It's very hard because I'm not a professional at it. There are people who do this every day. I have a full-time job, so this is not my career. So you have to go in and, like I said, you learn from other people. I've actually run into other people on set, Punjabis. Actually, Gurpreet is, I don't know if you know Gurpreet. He's based out of New York. He was
Yes.
the first Sikh on American Idol many years ago. He's does acting and modeling as well. So actually, I ran into him on set in a casting one time,
Uh-huh.
but it was for a taxi driver. Go figure. He got the job, but I didn't get it. But so people are doing it. You just have to go in with an attitude like, hey, you know what? I'm me. That's who I am, and I'm not going to sit there and pretend to be somebody else. We've been underrepresented a very, very long time. So when we get these opportunities, we have to shine. And I don't want to say, pretend to be somebody else, but sometimes you have to get these gigs. Huge props to everyone in Punjabi or South Asian that goes out to these castings. I just hope that you don't get a script that says, "Oh, do you have an Indian accent?" Because we still do.
Getting rejected.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, you have to remember, and I try to remember this, our turbans, our beards, they're not props, right? It's part of who we are. So you should go in and bring, pride and who you are into every audition, photo shoot, everything that we do. Don't go in thinking that you're there just because you're turban. Go in for who you think you are. That's what I would say. Yeah,
I want to go in
absolutely.
a long day. You went through a photo shoot.
So if I come back from a shoot, it's usually late in the evening. And most of the times these things are far away. Late at night. When I did the Chappelle Roan video, it was in Brooklyn. Like almost like 2.5 hour drive home. But when you leave the set, you feel accomplished that you did something. And especially because you're a director picked, for a scene, and you just kind of like, oh, I hope I get seen in the video, or I hope I get seen in the film, or whatever. It's basically, you get home, you kind of just like got to unwind and forget what just happened. Whether it's having dinner with the wife, or playing with the dog, or just going out in the garden and doing something, just to de-stress from the whole day. That's my routine. Nothing crazy, I don't really drink, so yeah. It's basically, like I say, you just get home, you change, you wash your face, you either pop on a TV, get a plate of dinner or whatever, and you just kind of chill. Because in a day or two, it's going to happen again. So I work in IT, locally in the hospital. The time gets managed. I have personal days and whatever. So they understand. They know where the career is, where the job is, and where the career is. So there's never an issue with that. Like I said, if I'm going to Mumbai for 8 days, it's 8 days I'm taking off. It's my vacation days, but it's an opportunity that you really, really almost never get in life. And it's an opportunity you have to take.
Now,
you mean my short film? Yeah, so Perfectly Seasoned is my follow-up film to Manpreet, and it's based on my character, Mamaji. And my niece from the first film is now helping me navigate the scene of finding romance, because I was too busy in life, working, taking care of family and everything like that, and I never bothered looking for a partner in life. So she helps me navigate a speed dating event. And I won't get too much into detail, but the speed dating event turns chaotic and like, what the hell am I doing here? Type thing. So we shot in mockumentary style. So think Parks and Rec or Abbott's Elementary. And again, as I wanted to do something different, I wanted to shoot something in a unique way. And it's funny because the crew, who were all American, they were laughing at every scene. And they were like, is this a pilot show? I'm like, no, it's just a short film. And they're, oh, this should be a pilot. I'm like, I really never thought of it that way. But, now going and thinking back about it, it's like, yeah, it would be a fun pilot if you have funding for it. And that's always what it comes down to, is getting money for these projects. So funding for short films is very, very hard because there's no return on investment. Most people will give money, donate money because they like you, they know you, they want you to succeed. This Perfectly Seasoned was mostly funded by a lot of friends who gave $100 here, $150 there. And that basically goes to our production cost, pre-production and post-production. it's not easy. A lot of it is self-funding, where you're putting your own money in there. But again, where you make the long-term benefit of this is when somebody sees your project and decides to hire you for another project. And that was the case of Manpreet. I went to this festival in Boston. I didn't have to go. It was like, 4 or 5 hour drive. It was like 3 nights in a hotel. I said, oh, let me just go and, hang out and, see what happens. And that's where I met Rahat Kazmi. If I didn't go to this festival, I never would have met him. He never would have talked to me. He would never have asked me to come on board for Love in Vietnam. I would not be in Vietnam. I would not have been in Vietnam. I would not be going to Mumbai. I'd just still be working in my office in IT. Yeah, no, absolutely. And, like I said, I have a third script written down already for the final film of the trilogy. And depending how this film
That's
goes,
what I was asking about. I was like, there's another one.
it's a trilogy. So now it's the completion of the story. I'm not going to get into it there, but again, hopefully people will see Perfectly Seasoned and they like it, and someone will come in and say, hey, what's it going to cost to make a third film, and hopefully that will happen, and someone will come across and say, hey, let's do it. No, I think hopefully I came across as everyone expects or did not expect me to be. Definitely go. Love in Vietnam is coming out soon. Check out the music video. It's Bade Din Hoya is the name of the song. It's a beautiful, beautiful film where it's based off a book called Madonna and a Fur Coat. I won't get too much into the story, but basically it's a love triangle story. The whole cast, Shantanu especially, amazing personality, amazing person, gentle. They're all humble actors. Oh, you meet him in the morning, he'll give you a hug. How are you? How was your night? This and that. Gulshan Grover, Raj Babar, having drinks, one night, just chatting about careers. Farida I had met in Boston, so she remembered me. We're talking about her growing up in Bollywood and things like that. They're all just phenomenal characters. I mean, the film is really, it's going to be a beautiful film, I think. We have a lot of good songs coming up from the movie as well, not released yet. So hopefully another 2 weeks we'll have more songs coming out. But again, it's the first joint film between Vietnam and India. So you get a lot of sights in Vietnam, a lot of scenery and things like that. Even in the music video, you'll see a lot of scenery. So this is like the first joint venture film, and hopefully there'll be more coming up to it. But please go watch the video. Follow the Instagram, and hopefully you'll see me on the red carpet soon. To which community? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because one of the lead actresses is Vietnamese. So the love triangle is between the Indian character, Shantanu, and the Vietnamese character. Yeah, we hope so. The world premiere is on the 12th. So, we're I don't know what the information is for the U.S., but I'm sure it'll be at theaters across the U.S. And, I'm actually working with the director. We're going to try to do a screening out here in Long Island, probably 2 weeks afterwards or a week afterwards. So, follow my Instagram. I'll be making announcements over there, and hopefully, we'll get a live session with one of the actors after the screening, so you can do Q&A with him. No, thank you so much for having me, and let's make things happen. For the South Asians and the Sikhs. Have a good day. Bye.
You too.